Hawaii's award-winning talk program. It's the Mike Buck Show, right here on AM 690 and FM 94.3. The Answer.
Aloha, and good morning, everybody. Get out of that rack, Jack. Let's get rolling. We're going to have a real busy day today. We are stacked all the way up to the ceiling and all the way down to the basement. Lots and lots of stuff going on. One of the things we're talking about, though, everybody's got an emphasis on sports, and it reminded me of the YIP project that Riki Ellison and the gang at Missile Defense Advocacy Alliance run, and we know how it's going to be affected here in Hawaii. We don't know about the rest of the country. We'll find that out, time permitted, today. But, in addition to this, this COVID-19, we got a lot of stuff going on. And the bad guys are not sleeping. And that's why we're talking about missile defense today, just to give you an update on what's going on, not just with the COVID, but with all the parts of it and what's happening there, and particularly that China. It's still the biggest long-term threat we're talking about. Now we got the pandemic, we got this and that, and I hope we don't lose sight of the ball. Keep your eye on the ball. That was what Riki learned when he was playing football for all those years. Joining us on our celebrity newsmaker line this morning, all the way from the nation's capital, Riki Ellison. Hello, Riki. Aloha.
Aloha from a very warm, humid day in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, you don't say that too often, do you? I mean, and today's the day for it, huh?
Yeah, no, June. It's still pretty good. It's not swamp-like. That's coming next month and the following month. So, this is probably one of the better months of the summer.
Riki, I was looking at a quote on your website, and that's what prompted me to call yesterday to set this up. And the world's going around, and it's going on, and everybody's worried about the pandemic. But sort of boiling underneath that is still this thought about China and where it is. And I was reading a piece by Admiral Kohler at this virtual CRT you had, and I was really anxious to learn a little bit about that. What was that, and what was it? What was the mission statement yesterday?
Well, that was Rear Admiral Kohler, who is the head of operations for Indo-PACOM based there in Hawaii. And just to give you the breadth of it, that's the biggest area of command of any COCOM, as you well know, and it has all our threats are basically in this region. So stability in this region is paramount for the country and for the world, not just our country, but for the world. And to have our best capabilities forward at the farthest place we can get them on U.S. territory, which is Guam, and then there in Hawaii, to be able to make sure that we will never have to go to war, make sure that we can continue to be stable. This was called upon to get the responsibilities and get missile defense into this theater as soon and as fast as possible, an effective new architecture, basically, to defend Guam and back in at Hawaii to defend against the threat. And there was no doubt about the threat. There's zero doubt about that threat. That was named numerous times yesterday, and that is China. And there are both China and Russia are taking advantage of the COVID to move their long-term strategic goals of increasing their status quo and reducing our status quo in this theater.
Do you worry sometimes, Riki? Do you worry sometimes that we're losing sight of the, to turn your football phrase, losing sight of the ball? We're so worried about the COVID-19 and the economy and everything else. Or are we letting our guard down a little bit?
I think you've done a marvelous job. Admiral Davidson's done a marvelous job because again, I think our country is focused on China. They're focused on China. He's come back to Congress on both sides, Senator Reid and Senator Inhofe, who control the authorization of the funding, and has asked for a tremendous amount of additional funding to be able to secure and stabilize this arena against China. And that's a huge win in the environment that we're in, and how important that is. They've given him that authority. We're waiting for the appropriators to give them the funding that goes with that authority, but I don't think the ball's dropped. The ball is on Indo-PACOM right now. They've got the ball. We just got to keep giving them the ball. That's what defense does, right? I mean, if you got a great quarterback, doesn't matter, even if you have a poor quarterback, you got to keep giving him the ball no matter what. And if you have an effective one that can throw down and score, and you can give him the ball back, then you have a complete deterrent that doesn't allow the other side from even attempting to fight.
Yeah, it's so interesting, but I'm still worried that, remember we talked couple months back about funding and how exciting it was that the Trump administration and the Pentagon had come to agreement and realizing that we got to spend a little bit more on defense than we are on offense, and it was looking pretty good. I'm wondering how the money flow is affected by all of these concerns that people have about, well, let's not pay stuff out until we really know what we're going to do about this. How is the downturn in the economy affecting funding, if at all?
Well, I think the epidemic is going to affect the Department of Defense's budget. There's no question. It's going to be reduced, no question. It's now about what are the priorities for the Department of Defense and what are the inefficiencies that they can make efficient. Because certainly in missile defense and certainly in offense, you have your services. A lot of them are doing the same weapon system across all three of them. So it's time now to sync that up, pick and choose, and also be able to integrate everybody together, which we're still not doing yet enough, where we can pick and choose our sensors and our shooters from all the services, not just one. So that's a transformation, and I think it's been great because it's pandemic-centric. And again, the thing what went wrong with the epidemic there, the pandemic, was that we didn't have the information quick enough to make the right decisions. And
interestingly enough, I was looking at what happened the other day at this virtual meeting you had, talking about, it was specifically talking about maybe how the COVID-19, you didn't miss a beat on ensuring that we're standing behind that priority. Is it difficult to get the attention of our legislators and our military leaders right now and not talk about COVID?
No, I think COVID's with everything. But again, it is getting the massive amounts of different types of information the quickest to the decision makers so they can make the right decision quickly. That's where that's what got us caught, because we allowed China to set the narrative for the first month or so before we were able to respond back into it. And again, the narratives are going on the second, third phases of COVID, and who's setting those narratives? Who's got the right information? Is there enough information? And can you distribute it quickly after you make the decision? And that's where I think we'll struggle with that. And we can do this so much quicker by having, again, Wall Street does this to make billions of dollars. They're able to make decisions artificially intelligent, right, on machine versus machine, to be able to give you that millions of information to give you a decision on whether that stock's going to go up or down. We need to shift into that gear a little bit and rely more on machine to machine to get that intelligence directly to our decision makers.
Okay, as we know, a lot of things in the military have been either put on hold or held back a little bit. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Can you hang on for a couple of minutes, Ricky? Can I do a fast break and come back?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Riki Ellison, Missile Defense Advocacy Alliance. You want to check it out, just go look at Missile Defense and Google it, and you'll find it really easy, and we'll tell you about that website in a minute.
Come away, if you're going.
Oh, yeah. Here we go around the bend. And the rising wind, what does that mean? Well, it might mean there's a little swell for you. And speaking about swell, this is a rare treat. We're talking to Riki Ellison, who is back in our nation's capital, where he says it's a nice, warm spring day. But I don't think it's as springy and as nice and as warm. Let's tease Riki a little bit. Let's give him a surf check in the middle of our missile report this morning. Here's Maggie P. with a rubberneck surf check. Good morning.
How's it? Good morning, Mike.
Okay, so we got our good friend Riki Ellison listening in our nation's capital. He's on the air with me, and every now and again when he gets to Hawaii, he gets to jump in the water. If he was going to be here today, where would you tell Riki to go?
Oh, he has a beautiful day today, all around the compass. Even though we have trades filling in at 10 to 20 miles per hour, we do have small craft advisories for Maui and Big Island Channel waters. But the North Shore and Oahu today is flat to a foot, so good for paddling and diving. While out west, also flat to a foot, but maybe the occasional plus at a couple of reefs. Current south swell is dropping, but it's still beautiful out there today, 1 to 2 feet, and super smooth all the way through town, Diamond Head, and Sandy's. Might even see the occasional plus out at Sandy's. And Makapu'u is 1 to 2. That tide is dropping through the morning, hitting a low around midday before coming up to a high of 2 feet in the early evening. So that'll affect size and consistency as your day goes on. And that's your daily Rubberneck Surf Check from Surf News Network. You can call 596-SURF or go to surfnewsnetwork.com for more information.
There you go. And don't forget, we're checking in live with Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard in a little bit. She's in Washington right now, too. The special session going on, talking about the wish list from Hawaii. Sorry to tease you, Ricky, but I thought, when you get over here, with the boys and you go jump in the water.
Yeah, I can hang 5. I can't hang 10. I've done 5 over there, but not 10.
Hey, I want to spend just a second, if you don't mind. I mentioned in the introduction about the YIP project, and I know
absolutely
how near and dear that's been to you, and I know it's been horribly impacted. But what's the scoop? What's it looking like in some of the cities?
We're going in, Mike. Mike, we're going in. And that program was built, and it was built 10, 12 years ago to deal with the social issues that we have, the injustice that we have. It's built. And we're going to go into Detroit next month. And
great.
The COVID's going in. We are going in, and we're doing it like a mini camp. In the NFL, when you get drafted, to set your conditions to win to make that team, you get the team together for 3 days and all the rookies to really prepare to go in. So we're going to take the young kids before they go to school, the 3 days before they go to school, and deal with the pandemic, deal with the social injustice, get them on their books, get them all their minds right, and get them in. So that program is going, and I'm talking today and been talking last week with Hawaii, with Senator Ron Kochi, to see if we can do this in Hawaii and host it at the Aloha Stadium there for 3 days. So we're in negotiation, or not in negotiation, just in the ask phase to do it, but we're ready to go because you're part of this, and we feel so strong for Hawaii to be part of this and give those kids, your kids, the same opportunities because they're facing the same things that the mainland's facing. So that's what we're looking at, and hopefully we can get it.
And let me tell you why it's so impressive to so many of the people like Roy and Kochi and everybody. Everybody's been attached with this whole thing from the beginning because the kids wake up to the awareness of it's not just all about the football game or the volleyball or baseball game. It's about being a gamer when you're taking classes and what you're going to do down the road. That's what I've been most impressed with. Those kids come there expecting that they're going to a football training camp and find out, wow, I'm reading books and stuff. What a concept. And they eat well while they're at it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's the trust. It's the trust of the big institution taking care of them. It's the relationships that they don't have access for. And it's the ethos that they learn that, your merit's going to take you somewhere. And life's not fair, but you have to get through it. And you have to stand for that justice and stand with your character and your values and to get through it.
Yeah, what I like about that is what I love about what you've done with that and what continues to be done is that the kids are met on different levels by different people. And in other words, it's not just scholastics, it is athletics, it's home life, it's military service.
We got the Marines there, we got the soldiers there, we got the players there. And I think, and we're going to place it, I think, at Aloha Stadium because we don't want to bother the regulations and all the stuff that goes through with the UH and all that hassle. So we want to just take it. It's going to be community driven. So it's not anybody from the outside of the islands coming in to do this. It's already community driven, community supported to do. And I just think these kids need it because it's the whole thing is estranged people. People are wearing masks. People are not, there's no physical touch and all that stuff that makes the human race the best it can be. So trying to get them back in the right mindset to compete and to win academically and spiritually and athletically is what we were trying to do for
that's
3 days
why-
before we go on.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure people were aware of that, and we're going to stay right in front of it. And I can't wait for the next step so we can get out. Maybe we'll do a whole segment on that one day. But I want to make
you
sure
can help push Tulsi on this and push Ron to see if we can get the stadium. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, that's
I don't think anybody's
right.
playing there. I don't think anybody's playing there, next month. So
Not next month.
During the week.
Well, but you know what? You are such the eternal optimist, and I know that's the energy that you put into MDAA. And isn't it sort of similar, Riki, that, here you are, Maori boy, coming up here and being in the Polynesian Hall of Fame and all of that stuff, that we do make a difference, and yet on your very job as MDAA, we don't have here what we thought we had here. A lot of people are surprised that we need to have more hardware and software in Hawaii. What do we need? What do we need to make sure that we are safe?
Well, we have to have an architecture that is able to detect, and destroy missiles of all ranges. And China, North Korea is going to step it up. You watch. Are developing other types of missiles besides ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, hypersonic missiles, strategic, that we don't have adequate or gaps in our defenses against. So we definitely, and that's why I think Admiral Davidson, obviously that's why they're asking to get this together and get a new architecture together so we can put that out front in Guam. And you have to combine it with your offense. You can't. We don't live in those days where the defense is separate like we have been with North Korea and no offense. We got to play that game because that's the stronger deterrent. And you're right. It's Polynesia. Polynesia borders all the enemies, borders all the threats.
It's kind of, when you look at it that way, it's kind of spooky.
You've got to put it here. You've got to put your best stuff in the Pacific. Not in Europe, not in CENTCOM. You got to put your best stuff you got in those waters there, because that's where it starts, and we got to prevent it from ever starting. And that's why I think you've seen resources are going forward, and the money's coming forward. You've got the attention of the country. You've got the attention of Congress, and that's what we need to do. And that's why I'm convinced that's what we need to do.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. I mean, what I'm saying is, don't lose sight of it's like the guy at the carnival that's got the little the walnut and the pea, and you're trying to keep your eye on it. And keeping your eye on the ball today is pretty tough. People are worried about what's for dinner. I mean, but still, you have to go to your lawmakers and you say, I know you're worried about the pandemic. I know you're worried about our unemployment. I know you're worried about everything else. But what about our defense? When are we going to find out that you guys are going to wake up to the point that we need a lot more hardware and software in Hawaii and in the rest of our Pacific?
And we got to do it smarter than we've done it before. We got to be more efficient with it. We can't keep duplicating tasks. We've got to use space. We've got to use what we do best, man. We use your best tools. Use your best talent, and then do whatever. We've got capabilities already out there, but we got to put them all together and integrate them. And the islands are so big for us. Your island is so tremendously important for us. Guam is so tremendously important for us. And that's where you and I have been talking about this for years on how important this is. This is more important from a lot of aspects, more important than the U.S. homeland, because this is where the buck stops. This is where we're going to interact with China. Not in California.
I was going to say, exactly. We're not talking about negotiating for COVID with them. We're talking about other things. That's why we can't lose the focus on that.
Right, and they are buying and they are doing a lot of things to take over the other islands, the other Polynesian islands throughout the Pacific. They've got a scheme, and they are doing it. And look at Hong Kong. They're taking that away, and they're doing artificial islands, as we know, and they're continuing to progress. And they see us weak with the COVID, so you're seeing more and more aggression underneath to take advantage of us. And that's why we got to stand up, and we got to stand up in your yard, in your ocean, in the Pacific.
That's it, my brother. Got to keep reminding us that.
And you got those guys got to if you don't give them anything to stop on, they're going to keep coming. You got to set a line out there. So I think, we got to do it. And a lot of things are going on. I mean, like I said, North Korea is going to try and take advantage of this thing as well. I mean, he's been quiet, but now he sees an opportunity. That's going to happen.
Let's point them at the website. Let's get them filled in on stuff. I know that if they register, they can get regular missives from you. What's the best way?
Right. Mike, yesterday we brought the Indo-PACOM Command, their team, was Rebel Kohler, and the NORTHCOM team, and the Strategic Command team, and the Missile Defense the agency to come in to work a better architecture than we have today to help all those COCOMs. Anyways, it's missiledefenseadvocacy.org, or you can just type that in. It's a long word, or you can do the Maury spelling of Riki, Riki Ellison, and you can also link in that way by just tracking me down.
A done deal, my buddy. Hey, thanks so much, and thanks for the update on the YIP project. Looking forward to get that going.
You stay on it, Mike. Stay on that yip, please. Let's get that
brother.
stadium.
Gotcha. Okay, Riki, aloha from Hawaii. There you go, Riki Ellison from the MDAA. It's 6:30. Tulsi Gabbard her office just called me and said that she's